Hello, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. And we have just a ton of news. I know where we're going to start, because we're going to start with the biggest fish in the pond, and that's Donald Trump, and he's in court. But there's so much other stuff going on. Mayorkas may be impeached. That's moving forward. We have a ton of stuff going on locally that we'll get to, but we just got to start with what's going on in New York City today, because Donald Trump is going in for the hush money trial. And to help me break down some of this, we got the great Raven Harrison back on the show. Raven, welcome back to the show. We'll talk about Ravenous at the end of the segment. I want to ask you about that again. But what's your take on what's going on so far with Donald Trump and the hush money trial?
This is the ongoing saga, James, and I have to tell you, it is really disappointing to see such a legally flimsy and pathetic case continue to be played out at taxpayer expense. The lead witness in this, Michael Cohen, was literally approached as he was sentenced for lying under oath. It is unbelievable. So this centers around essentially what would be a campaign finance violation. So they're saying that Trump knowingly and intentionally, which they will never be able to prove, the intent is going to be the part that they can't prove, paid this porn star because he had an affair or something. It was something nefarious, and it is garbage, James. I mean, she signed a statement, a sworn statement that has been putting out there saying there was no affair, and she owes him hundreds of thousands of dollars in defamation.
Wait, she has a sworn statement that there was no affair?
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that, because she had done the interview with... Was that Anderson Cooper she did the interview with, where she described, or she told I guess maybe made up a story about sleeping with Trump? Yes.
So, but in what's going now is you have this thing that it came out in, I believe, 2017. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but it came out and it's been circulating all over social media. It is her sworn affidavit that no affair ever occurred, and Trump posted it on his Truth Social page. I mean, to me, how was there even a trial after that?
Well,
Michael Cohen said there was no...
Even in the absence of that, you can't convince me that that is a violation of that's a campaign expense and not a legal expense. I mean, I can see how it would benefit the campaign, but you can make that case about a lot of things. Brushing your teeth would benefit your campaign. That'd make your toothpaste a campaign expense.
Well, that is true, but you know what you have to say is, but then again, who paid her? I mean, Michael Cohen has gone on record and said, you know, he had no knowledge of this. It was something that he did. So this is it's nonsensical. If he didn't have any knowledge of it, you can't prove intent. It's a requirement for this kind of a charge. So this is once again the Democrats showing their desperation. This is not how our legal system is supposed to work. This is a legally flimsy case. It is an attempt to keep him out of the White House, plain and simple. And it's not up to politicians. It's up to we the people.
Well, Raven, I'm less interested in the facts of the case and sort of more interested in what's going to happen with this gag order. He's not supposed to talk about it because he could taint the jury pool or whatever. But how are you going to tell a guy who's running for president within 6 months of the election that he can't go out and defend himself against scurrilous charges like this? That's not only never happened before, that's kind of obviously wrong.
It's unconstitutional, and absolutely you're letting the lead witness who was caught lying, gets to say whatever he wants and gets to talk with impunity, and the defendant does not have the ability to fight back. But legally, the gag order does not apply to me, you, or a lot of other able-bodied people who can tell you that Judge Marchand's daughter has Kamala listed as a client and has made millions off of this Trump indictment. So we have a lot of, roosters in the henhouse. Foxes in the henhouse. It's crazy how this is actually being allowed to go, that the judge is compromised and they're allowing this to proceed.
Well, Raven Harrison, we're in day 2 of jury selection, and day 1, I saw a report that 50 jurors were dismissed.
Yes.
Is it even possible for this guy to get an unbiased jury pool?
It is not, but they don't want an unbiased jury. They want one that is going to give them the result they want. They want communism, which is the illusion that you have a choice and freedom, but you really don't. And that's what we have to fight against. Irrespective of how you feel about Donald Trump, These rights are for all of us, not just him. And if they can do it to him, they can do it to you.
All right. Brag about how awesome Ravenous did on One American News over the weekend.
It did. It was great. It was great to get it out. I mean, James, this is just a message. People need to know what's going on. I say you can't fix what you don't acknowledge. So this is my opportunity to let people know what is happening in our country, in our schools, and how we get it back on track. We got to recognize it. We got to get back. We got to teach these kids to love this country. If they don't love it, they won't fight for it.
Are you like the host of Ravenous? For y'all that don't know, Raven Harrison made a documentary. Are you the host of it, though? I
am not the host of it. I'm not even the narrator. I'm just the one who kind of put the story out so that the American people can know, what this fight's really about, and hopefully they will join us. Now we've created a movement. We've got the Roar Network. We're having our first event tonight, and we're going to be pushing. I want to give people hope that there are people coming, not politicians, regular people coming to America's distress call.
And what's the topic for Ravenous?
Ravenous is about the betrayal of America. It talks about my daughter being thrown out of school at 8 years old for voting for Trump in a mock election, the series of checks and balances that have been removed so that they can indoctrinate our kids and change the scape of our country. And more importantly, how I'm going to fight back.
Are you having a party without me tonight?
No, I'm sorry, James. We knew you had to do this, but there's going to be another one coming real soon. We're bringing one to San Antonio here in the future, and we're going to be debuting it everywhere.
All right. Thank you very much. This is the great Raven Harrison. Thanks for being on the James Show and breaking down some of this Trump stuff for us. And congratulations on Ravenous.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, Raven's documentary was on One American News Network like 4 times over the weekend. So it's kind of a big deal for her. And since she's a regular guest on the James Show, it's kind of nice to see success happen like that. So Donald Trump's trial is underway. Dozens of potential jurors already been excused. Out the door. Afuera. But really, is it even possible to find anyone to be in the jury that doesn't have an opinion on Trump? I'm not saying like everyone's going to hate him, but who doesn't have an opinion on this guy? Who doesn't go into a jury pool for a Donald Trump trial without having some pre-existing bias? Is that even possible? I'm skeptical. 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Boy, MSNBC's, they went to Tom Thumb and got some extra popcorn for this week. They are all over the trial that's happening right now with Donald Trump. And historically speaking, there's a lot of interest here historically because this has never happened before. Never in your life, never in the history of this country have we had a president in a criminal trial. This is it. This is the first criminal trial of a president. 34 felonies, even if he's guilty. 34 felonies for one hush money case for not filing it as a campaign expense instead of a business expense. I mean, this is what we have here. 34 felonies. You don't think you're piling on a little bit? No, Alvin Bragg. He hasn't shown any tendency toward gluttony, has he? I mean, there's no reason to believe that. We're expecting this jury selection process, to span 2 weeks. But out of the 96 poor souls that they drug into the pool yesterday, at least 50 of them gone, already disqualified, already sent home, got your $6 or whatever you get for the day. Get the heck out of here. So now we're down to what we think may be 34 potential jurors left. What's happening today, probably right now, as you and I are talking, is they're in this next stage. Today, they're filling out a questionnaire. The questionnaire is reported to ask them what type of media they consume. That's super important because the difference between watching Joe Rogan and watching Keith Olbermann, or the difference between watching Fox News and watching MSNBC, pretty much tells you how they're going to vote at the end of this case, no matter what the details are. Also going to ask where they live. And you know that zip code and political affiliation can be highly correlated. And then also their political activities. All right. Here is the thing that you're worried about that I know. I can hear you thinking this. The people that really, really hate Trump, and we know them. These people are crazy. They hate Trump so bad. What they want to do is they want to lie their way into that jury pool so they can get him. People, man, you know people who hate Trump. You know them. They're crazy about it. That's what's so powerful about emotion. You know, when you were in high school, did you have to read 1984? We read it when I was a junior in high school, and I didn't understand at the time the 2 minutes hate. Have you ever read that? It's a dystopian future where the socialists take over, and they have this cult of anti-personality where Big Brother can solve all your problems, and the evilest person on earth is Goldstein, and you're supposed to hate him. And in fact, you're supposed to take 2 minutes out of your day and direct it at hating this guy, their opponent. Well, this is the 2 minute hate. What an effective tool, because once you hate this guy, once you hate President Trump so much, you don't care if they take a couple hundred of your neighbors who happen to loiter through the Capitol on January 6th and put them in solitary confinement and charge them with all kinds of awful crimes for doing just tiddlywinks compared to what BLM and Antifa did the entire year before. You would be okay with that. You would be okay with them turning off the vote count in 5 swing states. And then when they turn the lights back on, there's hundreds of thousands of votes for their candidate. Wow, what a coincidence. Happened in 5 states? What a miracle. You can't flip heads 5 times in a row with the quarter. I mean, you can, but it's a long shot. Try it. See how many times it takes before you get the result that happened on election night and tell me there's not something up with that. They don't care. They don't care that they're making up charges. They don't care that it's a federal charge being pursued by a guy who's not at the federal level. They don't care that this statute has never been used like that before. Just like they didn't care about the other statutes being used in January 6th. Insurrection. That's an insurrection. They don't care. If you hate this guy so much that you are willing to say men can have babies, your opinion means nothing. They don't care. So there are people who will lie, who will attempt to get on this jury pool with the specific intent to sink Trump. And this is sad. This is sad how well the propaganda works. This hurts my heart. I hate to sound like a pansy here, but to see that a big chunk of my neighbors, my fellow citizens, can be whipped up in a frenzy against this guy like this, so much so that they're willing to overlook all these other historic norms. They're willing to gloss over all these rights, that whole Constitution thing, because hate is that strong of an emotion. If you hate a candidate, you are more likely to go out and vote against him than you are to go out and vote for a candidate that you love. Hate and negative emotion is stronger in the human experience than positive emotion. It has an evolutionary explanation. That doesn't make it any better. And we all understand the negativity, cognitive bias, whatever that's called. Because if you're, if we're in caveman times and we're just wandering around in the forest looking for food, and we happen to glance past something that is safe and instead notice something that is dangerous, saves your life. Pretty useful stuff. And so it's better to see that thing that's about to kill you, even if you miss a strawberry to get there. So in modern times, that's why they run negative ads. That's why they run negative ads more than positive ads. That's why the news is negative more than it is positive. It gets better ratings. That's why your social media feed looks like the battle scene from Braveheart. This is what my X feed looks like every day. This is it. People going nuts. Because if I got on X and I said, hey, me and Eric Bushman got along great today at work. You know what we did? We sat over by the vending machine and we told stories about our weekend. It was great. I mean, that might get a like or two on social media. But if I said me and Eric Bushman got in a fist fight and he threw me out the window, that would probably get a little more reaction. Now, I know, right? It's a far more negative story. But that's why they do it. That's why it works. And that's why you are right to be concerned that there's 0% chance this guy can get an untainted jury pool, positive or negative. How do you find anybody out there who doesn't have a pre-existing opinion when they hear the word Trump? How? Have you been in a cave? Have you been in a coma for, you'd have to be in a coma for 8 years, like one of those All My Children General Hospital comas. That's my only experience with comas is my mom's soap operas. I've never really seen that in real life before. What do you think? Is there any chance on God's green earth this guy can get a fair jury? Because I think that if this guy goes through the whole trial, and no matter what the evidence says, there's still a good chance at the end of it he's going to be found guilty. The evidence doesn't matter. We're way beyond that. We're way beyond expecting these people to make a rational, dispassionate decision. 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. Coming up next, I want to talk about what's going on in the schools around here that you're not going to like. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, President Trump is in day 2 of jury selection for his trial up in New York City.
New York City!
Thank you for that. Is there any way anybody in America doesn't already have an opinion of this guy and can serve in the jury pool? I mean, look, there might be a MAGA guy, a MAGA voter, that tries to sneak in with the specific intent of exonerating him. And now he's going to be in a small minority in the jury pool of a New York City courtroom. But still, either way, it seems like impartiality is not even possible in this situation. What do you think? 800-288-9227. John in River Oaks, you're on 820 AM, now 93.3 FM WBAP. What do you think, John?
My honest opinion, after speaking with Sean, both in agreement, it seems like the Democrats will not do anything without, their main goal right now is to have him either convicted, be a felon, criminal, whatever, and that just seems like the only way they can stop it. I believe that it's just with Georgia, with New York, with Florida. It's just, the man, the weight upon him, everywhere he turns is a lot of BS that's going on. I mean, if you look at Bush, okay, so he was a warmonger, so maybe American lives were killed in that. Obama, what he sent, $70 billion, like the last couple of days of his presidency over to Iran, nothing happens. Lewinsky, she's driving a Hummer all the way around the White House, things like she found Bill. What happened? Nothing. But boy, Trump makes a phone call. Oh my goodness, he under presidential whatever, he takes documents home, which all other presidents do. Oh my goodness, it's like the Democrats will just not stop until they got to get him out somehow.
Well, so I want to ask you to separate out the Democrats, because there's big D Democrats, like the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, and the people that are actually going to be shoved into power or shoved out of power if Trump gets reelected. They actually have something to gain. But your neighbor or the people in the car next to you that are little D Democrats, they don't gain any power by Trump going to jail. They don't gain any power by Biden staying in office or whoever's running the House of Representatives or any of that. Why are they okay with this?
I believe it's a cohesive, as in follow the leader.
A collective.
Follow us. We're going to help you out. Some of the lower Democrats that I believe that you're referring to, guess what? They start getting some of the chairmanships of different House committees, and they start getting chairmanships of they start getting access of national security. Why? Because they followed along. They didn't buck the trend.
Yeah, but I'm not talking. What about the voters? What about like my friend Tracy, who is going to be a Democrat voter till she dies? Always voted Democrat. Why is she okay with this?
I don't know. I couldn't. Maybe because of the directive that she's getting from her congressman.
See, no. There's no directive. There's no directive. They have convinced these people that Trump is Hitler. Once you can convince these people that Trump is Hitler, they don't care about any of the rest of that. Because then, do the same thing. We see what's on TV. We see Trump talking. They see Hitler talking. Okay, so if we had come up with some bogus charges against Hitler in New York for over some hush money campaign finance thing, wouldn't it be the moral right thing to do to put Hitler in jail, even if the charges aren't correct?
No, sir. I don't believe so. In a perfect world, no. I don't believe any innocent man. That's supposed to be one of the constitutions and the foundations of our American judicial system, is that they would rather let 10 guilty people go away versus getting an innocent man go to jail. So I understand you have principles, but if Hitler was still alive and you shot him in the face, would you be a bad guy? Well, after what he did,
yes,
most definitely, yes, sir. If you're talking repercussions for his actions, Yes, sir. Of course.
All right. Now, what if you just went to up to a random guy at Best Buy and you shot him in the face? You'd be a bad guy, right?
I would definitely be a bad
so
guy.
Once you can convince a population that this guy is Hitler, then the rules don't apply anymore. The rules change. The morality changes. The things that they consider moral and immoral, they no longer have a cognitive dissonance about these bogus charges. They no longer have any sort of mental gymnastics to jump through for this to make sense for them. They think they're fighting Hitler. And you would break the rules to stop Hitler, or you would be a bad person. So the danger here is, can we stop calling people Hitler? Can we stop accusing people of being Hitler? There's only one Hitler, and that was Hitler. And no one left, right, in America right now is nearly as bad as he is. So if we could all just tone it down, and if you're one of those people that hates Trump, imagine this isn't Trump. Imagine it's not Hitler you're looking at. Wouldn't there be a problem if they just took the random guy who was standing in the line behind you at the grocery store and they came up with some charges to put him away like they're doing Trump? Of course you would think that. But if you could be dispassionate about it, if you could let the emotion, and I know I'm not talking to you, I'm talking this ethereal concept of a guy who thinks Trump is Hitler. We're never going to get there, though, are we? Because look, it's been a steady diet of this.
Trump and Pence are operating out of Hitler's playbook, and he has nuclear weapons, the biggest nuclear arsenal in the world. And people better wake up, because he is more dangerous than Hitler ever could have been.
You know, I look back in history. In some of the worst governments we've ever had, you know, one of the first things they did? They went after the trade unions. Hitler didn't want unions. Stalin didn't want unions.
This is what got you wound up on the Philadelphia Inquirer front page like Hitler. They got you in a personage of Hitler right now, a characterization of that.
Even Trump himself seems to be encouraging the comparison. Look at this photo from a recent rally. Okay?
When he said today, America first, it was not just the racial, the Hitlerian background to it.
I've wondered since my teens what it would have been like, what it must have been like for distant relatives I will never know to have been a German and to watch what seemed like a strange but evidently unimportant political movement rise up from the fringes of my own society. Thanks to Donald Trump, I am getting the chance to find out.
The media is saying they haven't seen anything like this, not since Germany in the 1930s.
Yeah, he's Hitler. The other side's Hitler. You're not doing anybody any good. You're making people crazy with hate. And by crazy, I don't mean you need to be committed. I mean, you're acting irrationally. You leave the logical plantation. You're like, I've got to get this guy. You're foaming at the mouth to get this guy because they've been convinced that Trump is Hitler. You need to be careful because a lot of them have been convinced you're Hitler. And a lot of them would treat you just like they're treating the January 6th political prisoners right now. No concern about people being jailed unjustly for January 6th. Why? Because those people were supporting Hitler. They don't care about your rights. They don't care about you and your ability to maintain your full complement of human rights if you're on the side of Hitler. They're not just calling him Hitler. They're calling all of us Hitler. They're calling all of their political opponents Hitler. That's not a good argument. That's a dangerous argument. That's a dangerous precedent. And it's the only explanation I have on why they would put up with Trump being treated like this. Coming up next, I'm going to talk to a Bankrate analyst about building financial independence for women through financial literacy. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.